Okay, good morning, everybody. Guten Morgen, willkommen, welcome, bienvenue. This is Larsen Live. I'm finally back. Of course, I had to attend a family function 2 weeks ago. I came off with a pretty bad sinus infection, which I've been shoveling antibiotics into my mouth for last week, but now I'm back. And yes, I am going to go over some things I should have gone over last week. But yes, let's talk about the music today. That was, of course, a nice remix of Marble Garden Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog 3. A lovely little New Jack swing beat, presumably one of the ones that was composed by none other than Michael Jackson himself. Michael Jackson, of course, very intertwined with the Sega Corporation. And why did I start off with some Sonic music? Well, because Yuji Naka, the creator of Sonic, got himself into a little legal tiff. We're going to go over that later on in the stream. But first, we have to go over real news before we point and laugh at Yuji Naka's insider trading debacle. Yeah, so first of all, the big news that happened and is still going on, World War III may very well have started. And of course, like all world wars, Poland is intimately involved. This is where I would insert the meme from one of the Harry Potter movies where the professor's like, why is it that whenever World War starts, it's always you three? And it's Ron, Harry, and Hermione with Poland, Germany, and Russia's flags superimposed over their faces. I was going to say the professor's name, but then I realized I would have just said the Simpsons minor character McGarnagle instead, which, I don't know. That McGarnagle bit from The Simpsons is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Well, McGonagall, Billy's dead. Shut up, Chief. I'm trying to eat lunch here. Yeah, so anyway, got some comments already. If it's a sinus infection, why are you putting antibiotics into your mouth instead of your nose, says Pony Throat. Well, it was a cough, too. It's a ENT, ears, nose, and throat issue. Liam Roddy is a little more optimistic, saying that World War III did not, in fact, start. Well, not officially, but it's we're a little on edge. Anyway, former UN weapons inspector and potato impersonator Scott Ritter, yeah, I'm still coughing a little bit. He analyzed what happened this week. An S-300 surface-to-air missile landed on some Polish farm and killed like 2 people. He thinks that Ukraine is trying to provoke NATO into the war. In other words, he thinks that it was a false flag, if you will, by Ukraine to get NATO to jump in before the Russian military reinforces next month. I mean, I will point out that before this whole Slava Ukraini thing happened, Vladimir Zelensky was not a particularly popular fellow in the international community. He's a bit corrupt and also a goofy TV comedian or some such. Now, I'm of the personal opinion that America, should not get involved with boots on the ground. I say as if we don't already have that. Personally, I think America, is fine doing what it's doing, supplying them with aid. It would be nice if NATO would carry its end of the bargain, which is what I say about a lot of things. But yeah, I don't think America should get involved, militarily speaking. All right, Ponythroat says, pretty sure it was a false alarm. A Ukrainian anti-air missile overshot into Poland. Poland stated they're not going to do anything. All right, so I guess for now, we're not going to go into World War III. But of course, the security state is chomping at the bit for it. I mean, they've been chomping at the bit for a long time. And speaking of missiles, that wasn't even the only missile-related news that happened this week. North Korea did some missile launches as well. Japan and the United States are holding joint military maneuvers in response to these missile launches. Let's look a little bit into that. North Korea has a new missile. I don't know if it's one of those type of dong missiles. Reuters says it can hit basically anywhere on the planet except for certain parts of South America. Let's see. Don't see what the name of the missile is. I'm going to assume it's a Taepodong 3. Or am I just 10 years out of date with my North Korean nuclear technology references? I mean, in all seriousness, if World War III does actually happen, it's going to last about 10 minutes. It's just going to be nukes ahoy. And then, of course, we'll all be fighting for cans of beans in the Thunderdome. I mean, I'm ready for that. I don't know about you people. Let's see, Liam Roddy says it's going to be more like Cold War II, as if we weren't already in the midst of Cold War II. The military-industrial complex is always chomping at the bit for war. Yes, they sure are. And he says he has a Dong missile himself. I also have a Dong missile, sir. Speaking of Dong missiles, I should be using one right now on one of my ladies who lives somewhere in the greater New York area. But of course, I can't be doing that right now because I have to grade Unit 1, Marking Period 1 exams. It sucks. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, teaching would be a really good job if it wasn't for, the grading. I wonder if there's a way I could outsource this to India. But anyway, I digress. All right, so now we're going to leave international politics aside for now. Well, kind of, but I mean, it's kind of international. Yeah, let's talk about some financial news. Yes, as we know, there was that whole FTX debacle with some kind of weird cryptocurrency, and then there's also like weird Roman emperor orgying going on. Yeah, let's look into that. What exactly happened with that crap? All right, so FTX was a cryptocurrency exchange that went tits up. Yeah, literally and figuratively. As I look up what exactly happened, I'm going to point and laugh at the very, very ugly people involved in this, like Carolyn Ellison and Sam Bankman-Fried. So what happened? Sorry. So what happened here? I'm starting to think that my sinus issues might be from the fact that I live in a basement apartment. Well, it's adjacent to a garage, actually. So you might be laughing at me because I live in the same or similar living conditions as one movie Robert. On the other hand, I don't have like trees growing out of my toilet like him, so I think I'm better than him in that regard. Anyway, the FTX crypto crash. FTX.com was the third biggest cryptocurrency exchange, and it filed for bankruptcy, and it subsequently destroyed the values of many other cryptocurrencies along with it. Yeah, I personally noticed that Bitcoin had dropped precipitously in value, and I got off that ship. Yeah, so what happened was, investigating the bankruptcy, it revealed wrongdoing and criminal behavior amongst the people running the firm, particularly allegations against the CEO and founder, Sam Bankman-Fried. Okay, Carolyn Ellison, who I mentioned previously, she was the CEO of Alameda Research, which is a trading firm that was founded by, drumroll please, Sam Bankman-Fried. Yeah, she was apparently Bankman-Fried's like bimbo gal pal, and FTX had loaned Alameda $10 billion of customer funds. And then what makes this really weird is that Ellison's Tumblr blog has like a lot of weird posts about polyamory and sexuality and what have you. Yeah, so apparently what happened was they apparently had some kind of mansion in like the Bahamas or what have you, and they were just having like 10-man like nerd orgies that were going on. Sam Bankman-Fried had managed to finagle himself onto the cover of Fortune magazine, might I add. Yeah, so Carolyn Ellison, who looks rather gnomish. Sam Bankman-Fried is just a filthy, disheveled hobo himself. I don't know why anybody would trust him with their money. Yeah, so she lived with him in the Bahamas, and then there was a lot of other key figures at FTX and Alameda. They lived in this mansion in the Bahamas. They were basically in some kind of weird polyamorous arrangement. I don't know. Personally, I've noticed. I can't help but notice that polyamory always seems to involve like really, really ugly people. Usually, it's like one big fat mother hen of a woman and her four dweeby chode boyfriends. I mean, I guess this is a little better because I mean they're all kind of on. I mean, they're all ugly people, but at least the woman's not fat. Yeah. So Carolyn Ellison apparently has a real fetish for men who control governments. Cute boy things includes controlling major world governments and finance. Yeah, I don't know. There's something I find deeply unsettling about how we're ruled by like really, really ugly people. Personally, this is like the difference between nerds and dweebs, in my opinion. Like these FTX people, they are dweebs. They're not nerds. I mean, nerds are spurgy and weird, but they do invent things and do cool stuff. Dweebs are the bootlicking little apple polishers who do sophistry and manipulation. I mean, that's what crypto basically is. I mean, nerds have way too much tism to even know how to be a sophist. I mean, I was a huge nerd and I still am to an extent, but I sure as hell was never a dweeb. There's something that annoys me about this whole FTX thing. Like, it's not even, Revenge of the Nerds. It's like Revenge of the Drama Club kids. And of course, Sam Bankman Fried is, born with a silver spoon in his mouth, so to speak. His parents are both like college professors. So, yeah, he never struggled. And, he was probably told he was special all his life. And that leads us where we are today. Okay, let's see. Got a lot of comments here. Ponythroat says, thumbs up for the people with a Minuteman missile. Liam Roddy says, turns out the Bahamian government seized their assets. FTX. Yeah, this whole drama is still unfolding. We're going to talk more about that. Ponythroat says, do you have the 7 foot tall movie Bob pyramid of empty Mountain Dew cans? No, sir, I do not have the Great Wall of Diabetes. C Punk Messiah says, polyamory, not even once. You're damn right. Now, polygamy is good. No, I'm kidding, of course. It's not. Polygamy is probably the best case scenario, but even that's not good. I mean, at various points in my life, like right now, I've had, you know, several mediocre women on call for my sexual release, and none of these women I would really ever put a ring on. But I mean, in some deep, dark recess of my mind, do I want to live in a house with them as I wear like harem pants? Yeah, you're damn right I do. But on the other hand, I realize that's wildly unrealistic. And also, polygamy, at least a lot of men not getting any. Then you have like these creepy, Bob and Vagine guys, and it's not good. So I, being the great magnanimous man that I am, I do not live in a harem. I seek to have one woman I can devote myself to. Liam Roddy says, Sam Bankman Fried is a weird little autist and his girl looks like my anus. Yeah, Carolyn Ellison is not a good looking woman. Ponythroat says, if only Friedman was some ethnic group that routinely destroys the economy and the livelihoods of people who work to enrich themselves, and then they use the money they stole to destroy society. Uh, yeah, let's, yeah, there's a lot of that. Liam Roddy says, ugly people Holocaust. Well, I mean, ugly people do tend to be the biggest genocidaires, if that's what you're getting at. I mean, you notice that the people who really, like, wreck societies and they do genocides, they're always these little, ugly little dweebs with glasses. I say as I adjust my glasses. Tony Gilbert says he's glad to catch me live. Do I know what happened to Pinkman? Yeah, I heard that he has a new account. I haven't checked it out yet. Ponythroat says in the last stream somebody mentioned vexillology. I left a comment about a flag I designed, but I think it was deleted by you for some reason. I've never gone out of my way to delete any comments, sir. Maybe YouTube's algorithms did so. C-Punk Messiah says he was in a poly relationship that fell apart at the seams. Yeah, they tend to do that. At least you were the bull in the relationship, so that's good. I'm proud of you, son. Yeah, so, I mean, this whole FTX thing is just a clusterfuck. Like, they're apparently giving each other, like, billion-dollar personal loans just for their own, edification. Like, people were depositing money into cryptos and they weren't even recording it. Like, all of it was just going to a big, slush fund. It's, I mean, dare I say that FTX was a big scam, much like, most crypto exchanges. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go get a handkerchief to blow my nose. Then we'll talk more about FTX. All right, so yeah, the Bankman-Fried family is really something. Barbara Fried is a professor of law at Stanford. She, perhaps coincidentally, wrote an article about how the philosophy of personal responsibility has ruined criminal justice. It's time to move past blaming people. I'm curious as to whether her son's activities are, part of why she wrote this. I mean, I don't. If you. How I'm trying to word this. I think it's a bit absurd to, like, not involve personal responsibility in criminal justice at all. But, that's just me. Maybe I'm a bit old fashioned in that regard. Not to be outdone, Sam Bankman Fried's aunt, Linda, is also big on talking about, the incarceration crisis. And fair enough, yes, it is a problem. Mass incarceration is a problem. I think it also points to the fact that our society is crumbling. If we didn't have mass incarceration, it would probably be a lot worse. I mean, that's why the crime rate has gone down historically. And then once you know it, the crime rate's going up now that we're demonizing the police. Okay, yeah, Linda Fried is also a professor. Yeah, okay, she talks about the epidemic incarceration. And yeah, fair enough. I think public health should be done. I think rehabilitation should be encouraged rather than retribution. But I don't know whether or not they were expecting that their son was going to be a massive white collar criminal. But yeah, this is a absolute clusterfuck. Okay, Ponythroat says polyamory is like pegging without the rugged masculinity. Yeah, yeah. Tony Gilbert says I deserve way more subs. Yes, yes, I do. Ponythroat says in my above comment, get yeety by YouTube. The pegging one? No, I did not. Liam Roddy says they're a liberal family that have always pushed justice reform. Yeah, I mean, I myself have talked about justice reform at some point. I mean, my basic, my basic idea of criminal justice reform is that when you really, really get down to it, there's really only three crimes, right? Stealing, injuring, and murdering. I should rather say that there should really, when you get down to it, only be 3 laws. Don't steal, don't injure, don't murder. Everything else really, when you get down to it, fits into those 3 things in some fashion. So, like, there's way too many laws, and there's way too many people in jail. Personally, I would let out anybody who, has committed a non-violent offense, and then go down hard, really crack the whip, pun semi-intended, on anybody who does a violent offense. I mean, that's something we could talk about for a long time. That's roughly and very, very, very simply what I would do to reform criminal justice reform. Ponythroat says, can you really rehabilitate crime caused by high testosterone and low IQ and no impulse control? Yeah, see, that's the problem. Like, people say, like, we could have, like, a Norwegian, like, kind of justice system. No, we could not. We could not in this country. We don't have a population of Norwegian people. Liam Roddy says people refuse to see the big picture and spend the money. All nonviolent drug offenders should be released. I mean, I did a video years ago how I think flogging should be brought back for a lot of crimes, honestly. Mr. Deed says sexual offenses can be nonviolent. Well, I think sexual offenses would be injury. But again, I was just giving like a quick and dirty summation of my views. I don't advise you to, implement laws now based on what I said. Liam Roddy says, so it's black people. Well, not necessarily, but, you know, America is a very, shall we say, diverse and vibrant country. And diverse and vibrant countries tend to have harsh justice systems. Because, again, I really don't think you can have like a nice, soft Norwegian style system in this country. I really don't. Anyway, there's allegedly going to be some sort of hearing or congressional hearing about the FTX whoop-de-doo. I mean, they're all buds, and Bankman-Fried was a major donor to the Democratic Party, so I question how much he's going to get punished. Yeah, speaking of American politics and the stupidity that's going on, there's a lot of that going on. Yeah, so John Fetterman won in Pennsylvania, of course. That man literally looks like an orc wearing people clothes. I mean, I don't. You gotta do pretty bad, Dr. Ross, to lose to that guy. The guy's literally like a mumbling simpleton, and you lost to him. Bang up job, Dr. Oz. Yeah, so Donald Trump, speaking of the infighting in the Republican Party, Donald Trump announces that he's going to run in 2024. Can Trump pull off the Grover Cleveland? I don't know. I mean, I don't know who else the Republicans are going to run. Probably Ron DeSantis. It's yeah, political system sucks. Okay. Liam Roddy says black and brown people can't be rehabilitated because of low IQ, prone to violence. I didn't realize you guys were this racist. I don't know. I mean, you could try it, but I don't know, just like I'm talking more culturally. Like I don't know if, and I think I addressed this in my article on the topic. Like a lot of rehabilitation kind of works because like social shaming. When everybody in your community looks like you, it's easier to be socially shamed. And when there's rather than when there's like little tribes fighting for the geld constantly. No, I didn't say cultural IQ. I said cultural traits that lead to criminality. I don't know. I'd be willing to try the rehabilitation thing. Just my gut reaction is I don't know if it'll work. Okay, C Punk Messiah says Varg Vikernes could produce music while in jail. I don't know, like maybe try the rehabilitation thing with regards to criminal justice. Yeah, I'd be willing to try it. Let's put it that way. Steampunk Messiah says, I wish we could do away with the party system so we can view candidates on their merit rather than affiliation. Yes, I agree. I would personally say we should have no political parties. But, that's not going to happen ever. Okay. Liam Roddy also says that he worked with John Fetterman. Again, I'm just, I'm not from Pennsylvania. I, just go by what I see. Okay, Ponythroat says that by comment that became leftovers was about a flag I made. I know, I have to go back and check it. I didn't see. Right? Yeah, speaking of American politics, yeah, Chuck Schumer said, we're below replacement fertility, therefore we need to legalize all illegal immigrants now to keep up our standards of living. Now, bear in mind that he said nothing about, I don't know, making it easier for citizens to buy homes and start families or have a living wage. Nope, we can't have that. We just got to bring in endless hordes of illegal immigrants. I know, I personally don't understand the logic. It's like, you make society so that people can't start families. It's like, whoops, no replacement fertility, derp, illegal immigration time. I can't help but notice that people used to talk about overpopulation. I mean, now they don't because all the population growth is coming from the global south, and it would be racist to, tell them to stop breeding so much. Yeah, but it seems to me you would want to increase the population of the citizens that are already in the country, and that goes for all races, instead of just bringing in illegal immigrants. Seems logical to me, but I don't know. Okay, let's see. Mr. Deed 72 says you may perhaps some form of proportional representation. Okay, Jim Tuner says that Fetterman is garbage. He's a rich boy, spends a private school, spends to be a man of the common people. Well, it certainly looks like a common person, but well, that's neither here nor there. Okay. All right. Yes, let's check out some comments. Not a lot of comments going on. I like that. Were there any new ones? Yes, Jim Tuner says all of Fetterman's bills up to him turning 40 were paid by his parents. Yes, that is somewhat embarrassing. Yes, speaking of politics, international politics again, Pictures show that Joe Biden and Justin Trudeau and everybody was wearing a bunch of goofy ass Mao Zedong suits. Why? Probably because the World Economic Forum told them to do so. You know, Klaus Schwab was wearing his Mao suit too. And I presume that he was telling them to do so. Yeah, like they got, their Mao suits in delightful designer colors. Klaus Schwab has his orange Mao suit. Joe Biden has his blue Mao suit. Justin Trudeau has a green Mao suit. Everybody's wearing it. Yeah, they had they had the G20 summit this past week, the World Economic Forum doing its thing. Something I saw was that the menu for the G20 summit was absolutely luxurious. They had Wagyu Kobe beef and nice, vegetables and truffles and all the good stuff. Of course, us peasants, we have to eat bugs and soy slop. But, of course, the elites, they don't have to. Okay? All right, let's see. We got, okay, so people talking about John Fetterman. And perhaps I was wrong. I'm just, he didn't really impress me in what I saw. But, again, I'm not from Pennsylvania. Maybe he's better than I'm seeing. Hey, Ponythroat says, people want to import foreigners because they see the government of the countries these people are from. They want to be like that. All governments want to be banana republics unless they're stopped. Yes, I've said so myself. I can't help but notice that a lot of, our new Brahmin overlords, they really seem intent on bringing in, like, hordes of slum dwellers because they want to be the big dog. They want to have just like home. Having, jabbering slum dwellers they can get rent from, make the big money. Okay? And I see that John Fetterman had a stroke, and now I feel like an idiot. I apologize. I was unaware that he had a stroke. Okay. M Detector 5 says the World Economic Forum is another boogeyman in a long list of boogeymen. Yeah, I mean, I'm not fond of them. There's a lot of international organizations that are up to no good. Ponythroat says, I thought Klaus Schwab's suit was more like a wizard robe than a Chairman Mao suit. What are you talking about? His outfit he wore a while back, like his weird techno samurai costume with the big shoulder pads and the Hakama pants. He wasn't wearing that this time. He was wearing like an orange Mao suit. And Liam Roddy talks about Dr. Oz. You're right. Dr. Oz was, I believe he's from New Jersey, actually. He certainly doesn't care about Pennsylvania. All right, so you know what? I admit I was wrong. I can admit that. I was just like, hey, look at Don Fetterman. He looks like Uncle Fester. And that's really as far as my analysis went. I was too busy being sick and doing schoolwork to really pay attention to that, and I apologize. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really. I know allegedly with regards to the G20 thing, people were allegedly trying to, dress in the traditional way of Indonesia, which is where the conference was. But I don't know. I see a bunch of guys wearing Mao suits. It puts me a bit on edge. But that's just me. Yeah, so, anyway, what else happened? Yeah, I guess we're getting to like the goofy part of the stream now. Goofy news. Like I know this happened last week, but it's worth repeating. Fat man wins New Hampshire beauty pageant. I believe his name was Brian Wynn. He was a fat, ugly man, and he won a beauty pageant. Yes, we are officially in clown world now. I mean, I guess it is nice to know that I could, kick ass at a beauty pageant, but, I guess maybe I have an old fashioned view of beauty. Anyway, I feel like I should start entering these pageants now just so I can make some extra money. Maybe I'm not fat enough. I don't know. Right? Florida man has a three-way with female police officers to get out of a ticket. Let me look up this story. I should have it written it down. This dude was absolutely on point. Let me look this up here. Yeah, basically, he was getting pulled over by some female police officers, two female police officers. He manages to talk his way out of a ticket so good that he and the two officers had sex in his car. One can only wish they had that much charisma. I mean, I thought I was good, but I'm not that good. I'm trying to look up, Florida and police officer on Twitter, and it's literally just, Florida police officer punches homeless man in the face. Oh, wait, but then it's also Florida police officer helps a homeless man shave so he can get his job interview. Florida man attacks a police officer with a Bible. Yeah, Florida impresses me sometimes, in a good way. Okay. Mitchell Valentino says, honk, honk, I would win a beauty pageant. Thank you. I'm flattered. Okay. Liam Roddy says, beauty's in the eye of the beer holder. Yes, it sure is. All right. Ponythroat says, another reason women should join police other than giving felons free guns. Well, yes, clearly. Mr. Deed says, wasn't that a porn theme? No, apparently this really happened. Right. What else we have in the silly section? We got a double layer of wages posting L's this week. Jeff Bezos forced his cleaning people to climb out the window when he walked into the room. Apparently, they were cleaning the bathroom, and Jeff Bezos, apparently very upset if he ever sees the peasantry, demands that his cleaning people climb out windows because he doesn't want to see his cleaners ever cleaning. I mean, are we basically just one step away from like weird aristocratic social rules at this point? I don't know. And then also, what happened with wagey L's is that some trans barista at Starbucks had a mental breakdown because they had to work for a whole 8 hours. With all due respect, sir, you need to stop your whining. I mean, look, I've worked in restaurants before. It's it's tough. It's certainly a hectic schedule, but 8 hours is you're gonna have to work that. Sorry. All right. And now we come to the pop culture section of the stream. Andy Dick has been arrested as a sex offender, and I'm honestly surprised that it took until now for that to happen. I mean, the dude just looks like a sex offender, doesn't he? And from what I've heard, it's been going on for a while. His sex offenses. Now, regardless of what crap he does, John Lovitz will always be a hero for kicking the shit out of him at the Laugh Factory. And personally, I choose to believe that Lovitz was wearing the Todd Spengo costume while doing so. Uh, yeah, so the new Black Panther movie came out, and white people were not supposed to see it for stupid reasons. Yeah, joke's on them. I wasn't going to see it anyway. Yeah, screw them and their weird gay Aztec Namor. Okay, let's check out some comments. Mitchell Valentino says he moved to Miami last year, and I've learned how to appreciate how Florida does things their own special way. Liam Roddy says she shaved him for punching him in the face. Well, actually, the police officer who shaved the homeless man was a male. Jim Tuner says none of the people involved with FTX have been arrested, and none of them will be. Yeah, I know they're not going to. It's a shame. Mitchell Valentino says Bezos will be the next Howard Hughes, but not nearly as creative. Hey, Pony Throat makes his wagey pun about Chinese, of course. Liam Roddy says Florida, come on vacation, leave on probation. Yeah, I think Patton Oswalt said it best that the state logo of Florida should be like tearful parents looking at their daughter's like body in the morgue as she got into the porn industry and died of a cocaine overdose, while you have a flamingo with sunglasses going woo. Like that should be the logo of the state of Florida. Yes, C-Punk Messiah talks about fragility. I mean, yeah, 8 hours of work is 8 hours of work is not good. Okay, Liam Roddy predicts that Jeff Bezos will pee in jars and grow out his long fingernails. And he also points out that Andy Dick has been sex offending since the 90s. Yes, he is a bit of a dick, shall we say. He also talks about in Lovitz we trust. Yeah, apparently what happened there was that Andy Dick gave Phil Hartman's wife cocaine, which ultimately led to her downward spiral that caused the murder-suicide of Phil Hartman. Jon Lovitz was very good friends with Phil Hartman. Andy Dick said some, shall I say, dickish remark about such. And then viewers are not entirely sure what happened, but when the owner of the Laugh Factory came in, Jon Lovitz was legit slamming his face into a table and messed up his nose pretty bad. So yeah, good on Jon Lovitz. However, it was not quite as based as Michael Richards' incident in the Laugh Factory. Yeah, yes, we will never forget that, no matter how hard we try. And again, with regards to the Lovitz Andy Dick fisticuffs, I really do choose to believe that Jon Lovitz was wearing his costume from Mom and Dad Save the World. I mean, he did say he wanted to take like the costumes and set pieces home and put them in his house. So I choose to believe he did. Just like I choose to believe that Dolph Lundgren has that 30-foot tall painting of himself as Ivan Drago in his house. Jim Tudor is dubious about the success of a Black Panther movie without the Black Panther in it. Uh, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it. I have no interest in seeing it. I know Riri Williams Ironheart is in it, which is a character who I have no interest in, considering that her origin story is literally that her teacher wasn't racist enough towards her, and that was like her motivation to be, a girl Iron should have been Iron Maiden. Yeah, for those of you who aren't aware of what I'm talking about, uh, yeah, like so Riri Williams is in her school, and like her teacher said, you can do anything you want, you can achieve anything you want, and Riri was like, "Can you say that like I can't?" because Mae Jemison, the first lady, black astronaut, she was told, you can't do it, you can't do that, and her teacher was like, "Why would I tell you that you can't succeed?" And Riri Williams was like, please tell me like I can't succeed because like, you're just a black girl, you can't succeed. And then her teacher was like, okay, fine, you can't be Tony Stark. And she was like, yeah, shut up, old white lady, I'm gonna be Tony Stark. Meh. It's the stupidest superhero origin story of all time. Like I don't like there's not enough racism in the world, so you have to like fabricate racism so you can get your motivation. Yeah, and speaking of, for the first time I think ever in history, net migration of African Americans has been going into the South. So yeah, I guess like the South is officially not racist anymore. So that's good. Okay, Mr. Deed says not Namor, it's Namor. Yes, I did see that in the Critical Drinkers video. Screw it. Okay, he's Namor. I'm not pronouncing it that stupid way. Okay, see, Biff Slankovich says 1,200 more Twitter employees quit the company and take that severance package. Yeah, I think I read that like Twitter now has basically like 50 people running the show, and I haven't noticed any uh, impedance on Twitter. So really, I don't think Twitter needs more than 50 employees, to be quite honest. All right, and yeah, finally, now we're gonna get to what I was getting at the beginning of the stream. But first, I have to cough. Yeah, I'm feeling better, but I'm still a little bit phlegmy. Anyway, yeah. So what I was getting at the beginning of the stream is that Yuji Naka, the creator or is a co-creator of Sonic the Hedgehog, was busted for insider trading on the Japanese stock exchange. And the memes about this are funny. And I quote, Yuji Naka did nothing. The Japanese government mistook him for his morally ambiguous rival with black hair. I can only presume that Yuji Naka is going to have a thrilling escape from the police, jumping out of a helicopter and sliding around on a snowboard. Or maybe I'm just imagining things. Yeah, so and not only that, it was also video game related. He was arrested for insider trading involving Square Enix's Dragon Quest franchise. Yes, the 57-year-old video game creator, he allegedly bought 10,000 shares of Squeenix for 2.8 million yen. He then learned non-public information about the new Dragon Quest game, and it was reported that two other Squeenix employees, Taisuke Sasaki and Fumiaki Suzuki, were arrested for insider trading involving this new Dragon Quest game. I mean, to be fair, like the only good Sonic games that have come out recently were made not by him. So, I mean, I don't think it's really gonna. I think it's gonna be like a lateral move, to be honest. If Yuji Naka goes to prison, I mean, there's that new Sonic Frontiers game, which I heard was absolute balls. But I don't know. Let's see, we got some comments here. Okay, Liam Roddy says the South is still plenty racist. Depends on where you go. I mean, probably, but like I said, net migration of black people is going into the South. Anyway, I saw it as an optimistic thing. C Punk Messiah says lots of artists on Twitter are pretty spooked about Twitter going tits up, but he says that he needs to focus on other platforms. Liam Roddy says, Larsen, there's no way a company as big as Twitter operates and grows with only 50 employees. Well, forgive me, I'm not a particularly great computer programmer. The only computer programming I'm knowledgeable of is my own website, which has a grand total of 1 employee. So, excuse my ignorance. Okay, talking about the Yuji Naka thing. 2.8 million yen is $20,000. Not much. Well, it's a principle of the thing, sir. I mean, Japan still has some semblance of law and order, I take it. And yeah, apparently, Yuji Naka hasn't worked for Sega since 2006. So I don't think he does much with Sonic other than collecting royalties, if that. And yeah, 2000. Speaking of 2006, that was not a good year for the franchise, as we all know. I don't know. Personally, I'm just amusing myself by imagining Yuji Naka like city escaping. Ponythroat says in Japan, people get arrested for insider trading. In America, that only happens if you're out of favor. Yes, like I said, Japan presumably still has some semblance of law and order. I mean, the last Sonic game I played was Sonic Mania, and that was made by some fans, just some geeks on the internet, and that was really good. It was a retro style game, which I thought was outstanding. It's the best thing out of that franchise in decades. M Detector 5 says, regardless of what anybody says, Twitter is not going anywhere. Yeah, it's probably not. All right, so that does it for my prepared remarks. So if anybody has something to say, you can say it now. I'll give you a minute to say your last pieces. Okay, let's see. Liam Roddy says there's a lot of Japanese people in Japan. Yes, I've also heard that rumor. Mr. Deed says, what do you think about Andrew Tate turning Muslim? Uh, I don't know. I've never really listened to Andrew Tate all that much. I mean, good for him, I suppose. I guess man has always had a craving for religion, and he just turns to Islam. Good for him. Ponythroat says, what are your thoughts on potatoes? Boiled, mashed, stuck in a stew. I actually like to make potato pancakes or, homemade hash browns. That's whenever I go to the gym, that's usually my breakfast. I make a modified English breakfast. I don't put the beans on it because English people have this like mental block when it comes to culinary arts. Yeah, I make bacon, eggs, and homemade potato pancakes. And if I don't have potato pancakes, I make Johnny cakes, cornmeal pancakes. Okay, Jim Tuner says running over people in California has apparently been decriminalized. Yes, I believe Nicholas Gutierrez was his name. He ran over a bunch of police recruits, and that's like okay now. Yeah, California is It's amazing how God basically created, Elysium and people just destroyed it. C-Punk Messiah says indie developers tend to do better projects than the game companies. Recent Star Fox fan games look pretty rad. Yeah, I've noticed that too. Most of the games I've been playing recently are either retro or indie. Uh, because like all the game companies are doing all this, woke nonsense, just like the movies, and game companies are just doing their own thing, or like the ones that the fan game companies, I should say. I guess they have more freedom to be creative. Yeah, you got to go with the independent stuff, whether it be movies or video games or music. Liam Roddy says Tate's views on women align more closely with the Mujahideen. Yeah, I've never been a white Sharia booster. I've never been one of these people who thinks like women should be like beaten up and barefoot and pregnant. I mean, because call me a cuck if you will, but I like a woman who I can have a conversation with. Jim Tuner says Danny Masterson is going to get off on his 3 rape charges. God damn it, Hyde. Genghis Tom says, I'm a Caucasian appropriating an Asian warlord's title. How should I punish myself? Just flagellate yourself 30 times, then do a couple of Hail Marys, and you'll be done. Ponythroat says, the baked beans in the UK are different from the ones in the USA. I mean, I've never really been a fan of beans in general. It was not like the traditional baked beans in the brown sludge water. I like rice and beans. And yes, Liam Roddy refers to Heinz baked beans in the blue can. Heinz 57 does not refer to 57 varieties of ketchup. It refers to 57 products that Heinz makes. Ponythroat says, Genghis Tom, you can die of radiation poisoning, referencing, of course, the infamous RKO film The Conqueror, which was filmed on a nuclear test site and gave many of its cast and crew, including John Wayne playing Genghis Khan, radiation poisoning. Not the man's finest work. You're beautiful in your anger, Borta. Okay, so like I said, I have officially run out of prepared remarks. So I'll give you people a minute to say your last pieces. Ponythroat says the beans they eat in the UK are not brown glurp, they're an orange glurp. Well, in general, I don't like glurp in my food. Like I've never really been a fan of gravy. Because it's like, if you make good food, it should be able to stand on its own. You shouldn't have to coat it in this brown sludge water to make it palatable. Like, fuck gravy. Okay, Genghis Tom says he wants to watch The Conqueror. Not because people die, because he wants to hear John Wayne saying, I'm Genghis Khan. Yeah, the Conqueror is like one of the legendary bad movies. I mean, I think it's up there with like Plan 9 stuff like that. Yeah, it's something you should watch at least once. Okay, Liam Roddy refers to beans on toast. Okay, Jim Tuner says, I guess we have Chinese police stations in the U.S. now, according to the Biden administration. I was not aware of that. I know that China's been buying up a lot of American farmland, which I don't approve of. Liam Roddy says, do a soliloquy on modern man for us. Mm, I can't just soliloquy off the top of my head here. Soliloquize. Modern man sucks, but he may live again. Ponythroat says, "Oh, modern man and your teeming hollows, please in time, go fuck yourself." Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, this is a nice engagement we have going on here. Biff Sankovic says he's glad I'm back. Take care of yourself. You too, sir. I almost want you people to keep talking so I don't have to go grade, 100 more exam papers. Okay, give you one more minute to say your last pieces. Ponythroat says Larsen's sinus no longer paused. I mean, just a little phlegmy, but much better. Okay, C-Punk Messiah says check out Sakigaki Otoko Juku. It's goofy, hyper masculine action. I will have to check out whatever that is. Let me just look that up right now. Okay, it's not on one of my totally legal streaming websites. Okay, it's not on that one either. And let's look on this one. Okay, well, it's there. I will look into it. Ponythroat says thoughts on bug chasing acceptance in the classroom. Yeah, they're pushing that. I can't say I approve. Again, I have nothing against the gay sex. If that's what you're into, that's cool. But just use condoms, please. And Liam Roddy says, "Good talk, Larsen. Hope your nasal aids get better." It's much better than what it was. Trust me. Alrighty, I think that will be all. So, for Larsen Halleck, I'm Larsen Halleck. All of you have a good day.